What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Halo Season 2, specifically the trailer that we got a day or two ago, maybe a little bit more or less, depending on when you're watching this video. It's being met with a lot more positivity. There's a little bit of hope, and I gotta actually throw in, my opinion here. I felt, okay, well, I did all the reviews. I reviewed every single episode of Season 1 right here on Podcast Now Plus. I'm gonna do the same thing for Season 2. I'm excited, and I want this show to be good. I want to throw that out early in this video, and I believe I said that multiple times, when I was reviewing Season 1. This shouldn't be that hard. Making television, making good television is a hard task, but Halo, so iconic, so much good stuff there, and if you really honestly just followed the first several games, there's a lot of games that are actually quite good. If you followed any of them, I think you'd be more than set, and I think it really would make for a great sci-fi show. Season 1 was terrible. I mean, that's my opinion. You don't have to agree, but I'm going into Season 2 knowing, in my own mind, subjective, Season 1 was terrible. I absolutely hated it. It did almost everything wrong. Again, I have videos reviewing every single episode, and the trailer does give me hope. I do have to echo what I've seen online, that there is room for a little bit of optimism. Some of the cinematography, how things are shot, some of the looks of, you could see Spartans and you see elites surrounding, and just some of the fights, right? Literally some of the cinematography going on looks extremely, extremely good. And there's also room for optimism in the sense that, well, they were lit up really very few like Season 1. Obviously enough watched it, to get more than just Season 1, but there was a lot of criticism. And there's toxic fans and, console, warriors and all that stuff. At the end of the day, I think a lot of people that were going after Season 1 want a good Halo show. And so the optimism part there is that, well, with Season 1 and with hearing the complaints, you have time to pivot. You really can pivot. And so the trailer, to me, did show signs, primarily because maybe 80% of that trailer, probably more, was war. Just full-on war, destruction, turmoil, the consequences of war, right? You see different, you see civilians and what it would do to the average man, right? So that is very powerful. And I think if most of the season is just fighting, just all-out war, I think that would be very good. Now, yeah, there's room for politics. There's room for lore. I mean, the Halo games actually did that quite well. You could tell a good lore-based story on the Covenant. You can do that while also providing these big, epic, set pieces, which was actually very limited back early on in think of Halo 1, right? There's a lot of beauty and a lot of awesome moments in that game, but obviously held back from the time and the budget. You could do more now, and you could still keep the basic concept. Now, this wouldn't be me, and this wouldn't be a video on the Halo TV series if there wasn't a little bit of negative. One thing that concerns me, they're obviously still not afraid to have Master Chief with his helmet off. He is without his helmet for multiple shots in the trailer. We can go into a long thing about it. I'll just say, generally, I think that's a terrible idea. And I even saw some comments kind of echoing it. I think even just a basic idea, Chief is more imposing. He's more Chief. He's more himself when he's silent, when he's big and strong. And he normally has the mask, actually in the game, he has it on all the time, right? That's when he's at his best. And to be honest with you, even in the trailer, when it's at its best, these high-octane, action fights, they have their helmets on. There are some action-y sequences, seems like maybe up against, jackals and stuff, right? Maybe a ship that they're not wearing almost any, actually, they don't have their armor on or anything. It's just kind of them. Maybe the action's fine, but again, just put on the guy. And you know what? Another thing is right here. The main poster for Season 2 is this. So there's still some room, and there's also the idea that, well, I don't think the entire season is going to be just fighting, right? And that worries me because they haven't proven it. If you can prove to me that you can tell a good story when you're not fighting and when you have these, conversations between characters and there is some politics involved and, you can have this kind of stuff, that you can do it right, but you have to prove to me that you can, and they did not do that. And so, yeah, I mean, you're going to have to in season 2. There's going to be quieter moments, more character-driven moments, and you're going to have to show me that you're actually able to do it. And I guess the one final negative I have, this is actually probably a minority opinion. I did not see this, at least in the comments of the trailer. The final episode of season 1, with that, there was a big fight, right? Very end. And, I mean, there was a lot of stupid plot stuff that happened there that I was definitely not a fan of. But the fighting was very sloppy, I thought. So while the cinematography looks good, and I actually think they did it really well, in parts, I guess, in season 1. The first episode, I think, had some pretty cool, whenever they did, the first-person point of view, which I think they did in the final episode as well. Oftentimes, that was good. But the final episode, I mean, I can just remember, I don't want to rewatch it because I truly hated season 1. But that final episode, I remember that fight being very messy from how it was shot, at least for me personally. So I would like to throw that in, that although there's a lot of fighting, even though there is a lot of fighting, and there might be a lot of fighting in season 2, does not guarantee that it's done well. You can have very poorly executed fights or shot fights or whatever. Now, that didn't come through in the trailer, and the trailer looks really good. So hopefully you just carry that over into the show. I know I'm being negative. I know. But you know what? Halo is such a good game series. I mean, it's had its low points here and there, 5 and stuff, but overall, it's one of the best gaming series, period, ever created. And the show, like I said in the beginning, it is hard. I'm not saying making these things is like the press of a button, but it really should not be that difficult to just transfer it over. And I think it was an insult what they did with season 1. And as more and more of these things get adapted into shows and movies, they're not all going to be good, but we've had some pretty okay ones so far, and I'm sure we're going to, even Twisted Metal. I love Twisted Metal. I thought that was actually a great show. And that went off, that followed some, it had a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of references, but they actually really did their own thing, but I thought they captured it really well. And I think season 2, with it literally being the Twisted Metal tournament, I think they're going to do good. Into the future, BioShock, Assassin's Creed, God of War, Horizon, Gravity, I mean, a lot of Sony stuff, granted, but all of these things, some of them might be really good. Some of them might not, but some of them might. Halo should join that. Halo needs to be, I think, not because of, the stupid Xbox versus PlayStation thing, because Halo deserves it. That's why. Halo should be good, and Halo should be one of the best things that we're talking about. When we say the best show or movie adaptation from a game, Halo should be there. It's an insult to fans if it's not, because it's such a big and such an impactful and powerful thing that why can't it be, right? So I hope season 2 is good. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to come at it hard because they definitely didn't gain, there's no trust, given to them considering what they did in season 1. But I do want to watch with an open mind, at least a little, to win me back. They can easily win me back, right? You have to, one episode at a time, but you got to win me back. So we'll be doing reviews of every single episode. I think February 8th, 9th, somewhere in that range it starts. So not that far out. We'll be doing reviews on the channel. Let me know what you think. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.